Warmest greetings to all my incredible subscribers and new viewers alike. It's a pleasure to have you join us as we uncover the secrets of Tapiola. Tapiola is a district of the municipality of Espoo on the south coast of Finland and is one of the major urban centers of Espoo. It's located in the western part of Helsinki capital region. The name Tapiola is derived from Tapio, who is the forest god of Finnish mythology, especially as expressed in the Kalevala. Tapio was largely constructed in the Ers and Ers by the Finnish Housing Foundation and was designed as a garden city. It is the location of the Espoo Cultural Centre, the Espoo Museum of Modern Art EMMA, the Espoo City Museum, and the Espoo City Theatre. According to the Finnish National Board of Antiquities, Tapio was the largest and most valuable example of the Ers construction ideologies in Finland. Its architecture and landscaping that combine urban living with nature have attracted tourists ever since. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on history. After the continuation war had ended in 1944, the entire country of Finland suffered from shortage of housing. In the Moscow Armistice, Finland had been forced to reinstate all the areas it had ceded from the Soviet Union, which meant that the evacuees from Finnish Karelia had to be settled in Finland. Already during the continuation war, the Finnish Family Federation had decided that action had to be taken to relieve the shortage of housing. Tapio was one of the first post-war new town projects in continental Europe. It was created by a private non-profit enterprise called Asuntos to the Housing Foundation, which was established in 1951 by 6 social trade organizations, including the Confederation of Finnish Trade Unions, the Central Organization of Tenants, the Mannheim Child Welfare Federation, the Finnish Federation of Civilian and Military Invalids, and the Civil Servants Federation. The project was conceived, built and managed by Heikki von Hertzen, the executive of the Asuntoste and Garden City Advocate. Von Hertzen was a lawyer who had worked as a branch manager for a bank in Tampa before becoming the director of the Finnish Family Federation. Under von Hertzen's leadership, the Housing Foundation bought 660 acres 267 ha forest land, 6 miles from the center of Helsinki, and set out to create an ideal garden city. The role of the Housing Foundation included financing the project and overseeing the planning and building process so as to ensure consistency within different areas of the town. The Housing Foundation's unique combination of various socio-political organizations facilitated the negotiation of funds with governmental bodies. Von Hertzen set out to create a modern urban environment that would address the housing shortage in Helsinki while also being economically viable and beautiful. Tapiola did not form part of any wider plan for Finland's development other than von Hertzen's 7 Towns Plan, a response to urban sprawl in Helsinki. In 1946, von Hertzen explained his thoughts about urban planning in his pamphlet Kotiveikukasami Lapsilama, a home or a barracks for our children, where he strongly criticized the cramped and gloomy closed city blocks of Helsinki and defended the importance of nature in a built environment. This idea of a garden city movement was inspired by the garden design principles of the British Ebenezer Howard. New residential areas in Sweden also served as inspiration for Tapiola. The original city plans for Tapiola were made by Otto Ivari Merman. Later, the Housing Foundation made significant changes to the plans and handed planning of Tapiola over to a group of prominent Finnish architects, including An Ervi, Alva Aalto, and Kaija Siren. Each member of the group designed their own part of the area and its buildings, including social housing blocks, 80% of all dwellings, and individual houses. The planners of Tapiola were convinced that no one professional group could solve the manifold problems of modern community planning. Planning has to be highly skilled and strictly directed teamwork at all levels. Tapiola is a result of close teamwork in the fields of architecture, sociology, civil engineering, landscape gardening, domestic science, and youth welfare. The name of the garden city itself was chosen through a public competition in 1953. The winning name, which in Finnish means the home of the Tapio, the forest god from the Kalevala, was suggested by 11 different people. The prominent difference between the Finnish and Swedish names is explained by different etymologies. The Swedish name Hagaland comes from Hagaland Manor, whose lands originally included the site of present-day Tapiola, even though the main building of the manor is actually located in nearby Otaniemi, separated from Tapiola by the Beltway. The original northernmost part of Tapiola was separated to its own district called Pohjois Tapiola, Northern Tapiola. Tapiola is also the cultural centre of Espoo, as it houses the Espoo Cultural Centre, home of the Tapiola Sinfonietta, the City Museum in the Wigi House, and the Espoo City Theatre. The Tapiola Library is located in the cultural centre. In the next segment, we'll be exploring urban planning and its implications for our subject matter. Tapiola brought worldwide fame for Finnish urban planning. From its first stages, it gained both a national and international reputation for its high-class architecture and landscaping, as well as an ideological experiment. Tapiola's planners aimed at demonstrating a new direction for Finnish town planning and housing. The aim of the Housing Foundation was to create a garden city which would be a microcosm of Finnish society. All social classes would live there, and there would be different types of buildings, ranging from detached houses to terraced and multi-story blocks. The slogan of the project was, "We do not want to build houses or dwellings but socially helpful surroundings for contemporary man and his family." Tapiola provided a utopian vision of society and an alternative to what was seen at the time as an oppressive urban environment. In this sense, Tapiola was both an experiment and a model. Tapiola was built using some of the principles of Ebenezer Howard's Garden City. The founder of Tapiola, Heikki von Herzen, believed that it was not possible to create a satisfactory residential center if the population density exceeded a certain figure. Herzen's vision for Tapiola, which was originally planned for an area of 600 acres, was to have only 26 residents per acre, and a total of 15,000 people. The ground was divided into 4 neighborhood units, separated by green belts, and in the middle was built a main shopping and cultural center to meet the needs of 30,000 inhabitants, including those of surrounding districts. Herzen 1959. An important feature of garden cities is the development of a self-contained community. This meant that as many jobs as possible had to be provided, as many as could be at a distance of less than 10 from Helsinki. The architects commissioned to plan Tapiola had also been influenced by Le Corbusier and other proponents of modernism, and thus their urban ideals also included tower blocks forming impressive silhouettes, as well as a dense method of building. The various residential units which made up Tapiola comprise multi-story blocks and individual homes, either detached or in rows, introducing a note of variety in the neighborhood and allowing for the mixing of residents. Combining the architecture of modernism and the ideology of the Garden City movement is credited for the huge interest in Tapiola's planning history. The main planning features on which Tapiola was built, as synthesized from von Herzen's writings, are summarized below. The starting point of planning is the individuality of man and closeness to nature, and the aesthetic value of nature and use of natural contours of the landscape are retained wherever possible. Nature dominates, architecture is secondary. All buildings must harmonize with the natural setting. To be a working town, not a dormitory or nursery, providing as many jobs as possible to its inhabitants. The town should provide for a range of income levels, a community of everyman, where the ordinary worker, successful businessman and university professor can live side by side. Consistent placing of multi-story buildings with alternatively low housing, resulting in a feeling of spaciousness and variety. With that being said, let's now move on to neighborhoods. The development of Tapiola occurred in several stages. The eastern neighborhood 1950 to 1956, the western neighborhood 1957-1960, the town center 1958-1961-1970, the northern neighborhood 1958-1967, the southern neighborhood 1961-1965. Planning in Tapiola commenced with architect Otto Ivari Merman's site plan and building schedule, which were reviewed from 1951 onwards. His original plan detailed 4 neighborhoods split by 2 crossing roads and set apart by green belts. Architects Anne Irvi, Villiers-Révale, Aulis Blumstedt and Marcus Tapio were charged with designing the eastern neighborhood based on Merman's plan. They were required to design buildings suited to the surrounding environment and the topography of the area. A housing team was created to appraise the architect's housing designs. This process occurred more frequently during the development of the eastern neighborhood. Team members were from a wide range of fields and included a building engineer, a heating engineer, 2 independent architects, an electrical engineer, a landscape gardener, a domestic science expert, a child welfare expert, a sociologist, and a housewife. This unique team, coupled with the board of the Housing Foundation, assessed housing designs, taking into consideration the needs and desires of future residents from a diverse range of backgrounds. The parties had different beliefs and values, which sometimes led to disagreements. For example, the Housing Foundation was concerned with economizing, whilst the home economics experts were chiefly concerned with the needs of families. Thus, planning in Tapiola was collaborative and proactive, as it involved targeting specific family types and classes, deciding on an ideal lifestyle for these residents, which accordingly influenced their behaviors. Many dwellings were designed to house a specific family type and lifestyle. For example, it was perceived to be ideal to have families with children reside in dwellings at or close to ground level in order for the children to have better access to the outdoors and to parks, whilst a tower block with 1-room flats was designed to accommodate childless couples. Merman resigned from the Board of Governors of the Housing Foundation in 1954 following a shift from developing a town with low population density 6 persons per acre and low-rise buildings dwellings, as advocated by Merman, to more multi-story buildings and a higher population density 30 persons per acre as recommended by other architects and the Housing Foundation. This shift was prompted by the need to accommodate a larger population, triggered by the housing shortage in Finland. Irvi took up Merman's position as master planner. The development of the eastern neighborhood led to the implementation of important planning principles such as providing facilities that encourage interaction and foster a sense of community, as well as the separation of vehicles and pedestrians. It was also deemed necessary to have a mixture of building types located within the one area to encourage social diversification. The eastern and western residential areas of Tapiola featured curved streets of varying sizes and positions, whilst the northern neighborhood, designed by architect Pentti Ahola, marked a return to the orthogonal grid plan. Ahola's design, however, reflected the original aims of Tapiola, that of encouraging social diversification by locating a variety of building types within the one area. Financial concerns affected the development of the western area of Tapiola, leading to the construction of housing units that were economically feasible. In 1953, Anne Irvi was awarded the commission to plan the town centre. The aim of the town centre's design was to provide all the facilities necessary for a modern urban centre and to maximise social interaction. The centre included a market square, public square, church, public premises, businesses, and an administration building. As with the other areas of Tapiola, the centre was designed with consideration for the site's features and terrain, as well as to provide an active and versatile environment for pedestrians. Roads surrounded the central area, producing a modern design completely separate from vehicles and featuring a special route for pedestrians and cyclists only. Tapio. Irvi ensured the centre preserved the garden city character of Tapio by locating the buildings around an artificial lake. However, this plan was considered strange and criticised for its lack of density. The centre was later expanded with a pedestrian-based shopping centre linked to the Tapio, notable for its undercover, outdoor pathways. Later developments showed less consideration for the natural surroundings, though most developments respected the dominance of the existing buildings. Tapiola's centre did not expand to such an extent as to rival Helsinki. As we enter this new phase, let's analyze services from different angles and evaluate its significance. Finland's first shopping centre, Hiking-Tori, was opened in Tapiola in 1968. The Tapiola Centre has a large selection of services: a department store Stockman, a bookstore a K-Timinen Kirjakaba, groceries K supermarket, food market Herku, Alto, a post office, banks Nordi, Dansk Bank, Atia, the Susbanki, Alandsbanken, Handelsbanken and Nysörspanki, photography stores, barbers shops, and other small businesses. Public services include the Tapiola Health Centre, a library, an employment bureau. Now, we shift our focus to public transportation, a topic that deserves our attention. Public transport in Tapiola consists of buses and the metro maintained by the Helsinki Regional Transport Authority. The Tapiola Metro Station, a station of the Helsinki Metro, opened as a part of Länsi Metro, the Western Metro extension, in November 2017. Our focus now turns to sports services, an important aspect of our discussion. The Tapiola Centre houses a swimming pool and the Tapiola bowling alley. Near the centre is also the Tapiola Tennis Park. In the Chulimki Defence Shelter there are premises for wrestling, judo, shooting guns and archery, table tennis, gymnastics and fencing. There is also a boxing ring in connection to the Chulimki Gymnasium. In Western Tapiola there is the Tapiola Sports Park, housing the ice hockey rink, skating rink and the tennis centre. The name Tapiola comes from a competition held by the Apartment Foundation. The lands originally belonged to the Hageland Mansion. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on buildings. In the centre of Tapiola, next to the central pool, there is the Tapiola Garden Hotel, designed by an Irvi. In autumn 2005, the highest wooden office building in Europe, called the Mordua Office, was built in southern Tapiola by next to the Länsiväylä Highway. The building is operated by Finnforst. Tapiola is also the name of a Finnish insurance company, presumably from the location of its headquarters. Among other major companies headquartered in Tapiola are Hatamki and Emreal. In Otsoloti in eastern Tapiola, there is a small boat harbour for motor boats. The Kotano area east of the Tapiola Centre is famous for its apartment buildings built in the earth, visited by architects from all around the world. The Kotano Centre operated as the centre of the whole district of Tapiola before the current central area was built. Remnants of this central role include Tapiola's cinema, Kino Tapiola, by the Monteviota Street, and office apartments. The area belongs to the Finnish Museum Bureau's list of significant cultural environments. The highest, oldest, and most significant building in the area is the white, 11-story Muntaitoni building. To the north of Tapiola Centre is a central park, Silkinieti, a large grass field reaching to Pohjois Tapiola. It is popular among sportspeople and sunbathers. According to the Finnish Museum Bureau, Tapiola is a unique phenomenon in the world. According to the Bureau, new proposed changes to the city planning threaten the existence of this cultural heritage. The Wigi House, designed by architect Ono Rusuvuri and completed in 1964, is the former printing house of the Wielins Publishing House. It currently hosts the Espoo Museum of Modern Art EMMA, the Espoo City Museum, the Helen Rautavaara Museum, the Finnish Museum of Horology, the Finnish Toy Museum, Galleria AARNI, and other cultural institutions. Tapiola has its own metro station, the Tapiola Metro Station. The station was opened in November 2017. Now, let's redirect our focus towards controversies and discover its significance in our narrative. The founder of the Garden City Tapiola, Heikki von Hertzen, considered suing the insurance company Tapiola in 1981 for stealing the trade name of Tapiola. The Garden City had used substantial resources in advertisement. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to drop them in the comments section.